phrase, that abuser is going to destroy everything that you care about. Okay. That's what they do. They whittle you down to nothing because that's how they stay above you. Okay. So if you give them anything to use, if you give them anything to harm you with, that's exactly what they're going to do, you know? So I advise people, you know, don't don't bring an animal into your house if you're already getting your ass kicked. Don't do that, because what are you going to do when you obviously, you know, you can't even help yourself, dude. Like, no, you're not going to be able to help them either, you know.
So do you think that, and I don't want to say anything, I don't want to imply anything like negative towards these women, but do you think that when they do that, they're so focused on trying to have both still, like they've deluded themselves into still thinking they can
want
make
a normal life. They want a
They
normal
do,
life. They want a
but
sense of normalcy.
so let me ask you this though, and do they, how do I want to put it? It's almost as though they're trying to do something for themselves,
Yeah.
but it's kind of sabotaging at the same time.
Sure. Do you think they're self-sabotaging and further entrapping themselves? Is that what you're asking me? I've wondered myself. And sometimes, yes, you know, sometimes yes, because they think that if they something that they do is going to flip the switch in this person and make them the caring partner that they used to be, or the, you know, whatever that they were when they first met. And what they fail to understand is that that person that you first met is not who this person is.
Right.
You know, the
Yep.
person you first met was who they pretended to be.
Was that movie with Halle Berry, Enough?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Jennifer Lopez in that movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Yes.
Who he pretended to be, or who she pretended to be, you know, that's not that person. You know what I mean? They're just very good at pretending to be not a monster. You know, we know exactly what a monster they are, you know.
Right.
And yes, you know, that sometimes it is self-sabotaging because they don't want to leave, because they're afraid to leave, because they're, you know, whatever the case may be, because they want their kids to have a sense of normalcy, because they, you know, whatever it is.
They're trying to constantly grasp for some kind of control of their world.
You
And
know?
can I ask you something?
Sure.
So I used to be a psych major for a while, and because I want to follow my dad's footsteps to be a counselor for a long time, and quite honestly, like you know how much respect I have for him doing what he did and going back to school because of my mom, and but I realize it's probably not me. I'm more of a coach than a counselor, and I think at heart, and I don't get me wrong, I will sit there and let you vent out whatever you need to, but I think that my what gives me more, and sure, maybe it's a little selfish, what gives me more of a good feeling is more on the coaching side, like the counseling. Like I would leave, like I don't know how my dad does it
to be selfish when it comes to yourself.
Well, okay, no, that's fair, but I just, you know, I would watch my dad and I'm like, how do you listen to all these stories and then you just come home and still be our dad and there's no issues?
Right,
like
but your dad is a saint. Okay, so
like clearly, or he's learned how to, you know, and he's learned how to
Yeah.
compartmentalize a little. So let me ask you this:
Sure.
during my psych tenure, which was actually, I didn't get a degree in
I
psychology.
love psychology. I took
Then
psychology and
we're gonna get
sociology
along
for my elective. Yeah,
We're gonna get along a ton. So I didn't graduate with that degree, but I would say 2 to 3 years were spent on it. So I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I would say that I definitely know way more than the average person. And you know, we got to the part of psychology where we talked about Stockholm syndrome, and how women are a little more on the they're more susceptible to that than tend to be like men do. And so let me ask you this question. When it comes to some of these women, do you get the impression that maybe that's there a little bit? Like with any of these women, maybe there might be some of that?
Yeah, some of them, because it's much easier to lie to yourself, you know, and tell yourself that he really does love you. He really, you know what I mean? He's just, it's just a bad day for him today. It's just that, No,
Do
no,
you think it
honey.
could be like any attention is good attention because of
Sometimes,
the low level of maybe? And the reason I ask is because people who have low self-esteem
sure,
tend to take whatever they can get.
whatever attention they can get. Yeah. It's
So
just
if
like the
women are
kid that
like,
acts out. Yeah. Uh-huh. So it does happen, but in most of the cases where it's gone on to something like Stockholm syndrome, I don't ever see those women. Okay. They're not out here doing intake plans.
because they're not reaching out for help. They've attached themselves, and for better or worse, they're like
Exactly. They'll never come to me.
lost.
I may run into them in a situation where, someone else says to me, hey, listen, you got to help my mom. You know what I mean? Or whatever. My aunt is over here getting her ass beat every day, but
Mom or
those
aunt doesn't want
women,
help. What are you going to
I'm
do?
sorry. Yeah, those
Well,
women don't
mom or
come
aunt-
to me,
Yeah.
you
So
know.
you can't help them then because they're not coming to you.
Right. Now, I'll tell you this, Benny, I have a woman who she's a longtime reader of mine. Okay. Like since my beginning. Okay. So we're talking 5, 6 years now.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and I talk with her almost on a daily basis. Okay. She's been in 25-year abusive marriage. Um, hold on. Two grown daughters. Two grown daughters. Okay. Um, I I asked her, your kids are gone. Why are you still there? And her whole thing is financially, but she's still making excuses. She's not 25 years in, Benny, and she's not to the point where she understands. And, I've written column after column, and I will say, and she knows I'm talking to her, I will literally say, listen, I'm still out here doing exit plans, and if you need my help, I want you to understand that this is the time because there might not be a tomorrow for you, you know?
It's almost
Um,
like when the pastor in church delivers a sermon and you're like, he's talking
you
about
know
you.
it's aimed at you. You know what I mean? And this is and she does it because you want to know how she knows? Because I'll clip the shit and send it to her. You know what I mean? Like I'm to that point with her, because it's and I talked with Megan, my editor and friend about it,
Mhm.
about her. And I would have to literally go through Georgia to get to her. And I've told the woman countless times, I will be outside your house at 2 o'clock in the damn morning. Puffin and I will be waiting for you. Like all you have to do is tell me, and I adore the woman, so know that it's that serious to me. Megan has literally said, honey, Angie and I will put you up for the night, and then you can carry on out the old girl's house. I've got my team involved. You know what I mean?
So I have a theory about that. Can I share it with you?
Sure.
When I was much more active than I am now in the financial industry, we offered free training. So, actually, it's not that altruistic. Let me back up a little bit. Our agent training, we did agent training on Tuesday nights and Saturday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
And we made it known to our clients, like you can show up at our office during training hours and sit in on the trainings.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can learn.
Sure.
And we had these same people that you're kind of talking about. They would come, they would never get involved, they would never do anything whatsoever, right? But they would show up and learn and then leave.
Right.
And if you don't mind me saying, that could be what she's doing. I mean, she does want to help herself, or she wouldn't be listening.
And I know she does. I know she does, Benny, because she's reached out to me and she's told me her story. And I've spent countless hours talking to this woman. Okay, so understand what this is like for me, because I'm dealing with a woman who may very well end up dead at the hands of her husband. Okay. And do I call the cops? Hell no, because I know she's not ready to go. So all it's going to do is make it worse for her. I'm sitting here with my hands tied. And every time I speak with her, all it's doing is making me madder. You know what I mean? And I kind of have an issue with anger. I don't know how visible that is most of the time. But
you're good at like your face is very approachable to me anyway. So I get where you're coming from. I totally do. Right. I can totally see how that.
Yeah, violence is a thing with me, So if there is any possible way to choose violence, that's the option I'm going with. So, So we're talking, she's coming to someone who she knows will show up at 2 a.m. and kick the damn door in if necessary. Like this, she's not talking to a neighbor who's not going to do shit, not going to call the cops. So, baby, you are in the
She
right
knows you're the real deal. Yeah, she knows you're the real deal.
I just need you to hit jump, like that's all I need. You say the fucking word and I'm on my way,
Right.
and it kills me.
Let me ask you this question, okay? Just help me understand this. What's the protocol for you and and the people you work with? A woman reaches out to you, but it's not like this lady. She actually is like, hey, I got to get out of this.
Okay.
Right? Like, I appreciate you doing everything you do. Yeah. You've inspired me to I just need to get out of this. And what do I do next?
Okay, the first thing I do, the first thing I do is, do you have kids or pets in the home?
Right.
Okay. If it's just a woman who's ready to go, or if it's just a woman and her dog and she's ready to go,
yeah.
I'll have you Uber there in 20 minutes. Okay. Is your bag packed? Okay. Do you have your documents? Is he there right now? You know what I'm saying? I do a threat assessment, is my Uber driver about to pull into somebody with a shotgun? Just tell me what's happening in your house. That's what I need to know. At this moment, what's happening in your house? Do you have your bag packed? Who is it that you can turn to? Do you have parents? Do you have a brother? Do you have whatever? Or do I need to put you in a hotel until the shelter opens in the morning? What's your job situation?
Okay, so how does that go? Like, that's what I'm asking. So you okay, and then you say what you just did. You were like, hey, I can put you in a hotel if I have to, right?
Because if I don't get them out right then, chances are they're not going to go. If she's ready to go, I need to get her out before she changes her mind.
So is that you that's putting them up in the hotel, or is that like, okay, wow, me. Okay, wow.
That I told you, I do things that.
So, okay, you're like a DV vigilante, is what you are.
I guess
you are a little bit, but you're not doing anything illegal, but you know what I mean. Like you're kind of.
I mean, listen. Sometimes I am, and I'm very open about that. I don't have to toe the line of legal because I don't accept funds from the government. Okay. So
you have no law enforcement.
You damn right. So I can do the things that other people can't necessarily do. And given the fact that I really don't give a fuck, I do the things that other people don't do, because I dare you. And that's how I walk into it. It's, you might have shoved her around today, but I got money on the fact that you're not shoving me around. Okay. Because Puffin's about to rip your face off. All right. I'm taking this bitch in her bag and we're out this door. All right. That's just how it's going down today. So please.
Oh, so you bring Puffin with you every time.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes.
Okay. All right.
It's like I said, I don't, I used to only deal on a local level. It used to only be just people that knew me, and I've always had,
your circle-ish type.
Or I've always had big ass head pits. You know what I mean? It's just always, look, dude, I'm not the chick you want to fuck with. You know what I mean? And everybody knows that. I'm kind of crazy. I've never really had my head on straight. It's not, I'm okay with it. My reputation precedes me. We'll put it that way.
What are you talking about? You're a soft-spoken,
right. Oh yeah, that's definitely what's happening over
here. You're like a Girl Scout, like a shy Girl Scout.
And when I'm called into court, you're my first witness. So you know what I mean?
Oh boy. Yep.
It's but it's I never had to when I went big,
Mr. Argite on SVU, but without the binge.
Sort of, yeah. When I went big and kind of a lot of people, like I had 60,000 people on just Quora who, kind of read my shenanigans, so I got out there.
Did you actually read what I posted?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So anyway, later on, tell me about it. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, that kind of blew up my spot, if you will, I went on a whole different level then, and let me tell you what happened with that. I had a girl who reached out to me. New Jersey is where she is at, was at. I don't think she's alive anymore. So I call her Bunny, okay? She raised show rabbits, those big floopy things, and she had two of them that she'd had since she was a child, okay? Now, this is a young lady who she's in her 20s, okay? She had two kids, one with her former abusive husband, and then one with her current abusive boyfriend. Don't get me started on the correlation because you already know, Mr. Psychology, that yes, I'll draw yeah. So, but anyway, current story being, she told me about how he was hitting her and, all sorts of other things. And he was friends with a lot of New Jersey state troopers. So she was very concerned that he was going to kill her and his friends were going to help him get away with it. So me being me, immediately, I'm just like, listen, is there nobody that you can turn to? What's going on with your family? Well, she had a mother who wasn't worth a damn. She had a sister who they weren't close, whatever. So it was one of those scenes. I got to get her out of here. You know what I mean? She's got nobody,
Very
and
family resources. Got it.
yeah, yep. He's got an isolated victim. He knows what time it is, so, yeah. So we talk for several months. Okay. And she calls me one night and she's screaming and she's crying and she's telling me he killed my bunnies. He killed my bunnies.
Oh boy. Wow.
She's locked in the bathroom with her two kids. Okay. And I say to her, have you called the cops? And she said, no. And I said, honey, if you don't call the cops, I'm going to. And you never say that. You never say that. But I was so fucking mad. She's in New Jersey. What the fuck can I do? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, wait, hold on. She got spooked and then didn't talk to you no more.
But all her entire online presence is gone. Okay. So,
wow. Did she
like,
kind of swept it?
Yeah. So, and I've tried, Benny. I've tried several times to, about every month. I try, but
well, okay. Let me ask you this question. On a slightly more, not all the way, but slightly more positive note, how many women do you think, and maybe you can't answer this completely right now, but what would be something that you'd like to shoot for as a goal? Like, how many women a month have you helped, or let's say on average, or would you like to?
Well, it differs because the abuse changes with the seasons. During the holiday season, it gets much more severe, and you see a lot more women who are willing to walk during those months because they think they're going to end up dead, and sometimes they do. When the kids go back to school, it tends to lessen a little.
Yeah, there's a little less stress in the home. Got it.
Exactly.
Less
And then, obviously the holidays are the worst. I've not had a holiday off.
Emotions are high, right? During those times.
Yeah.
All these
there
feelings
was a man here
that could totally like put like nitrous oxide on that whole abusive thing.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
There was a woman here who her husband beat her with a Christmas tree last year. Okay. So know that this is the type of shit I'm out here dealing with. Okay. So as I was saying, it changes with the seasons, so you like, I could have 5 women who I talked to this month, and December could come and it's 50 women, so and there are sometimes where that's not true. I've never not had a name on the whiteboard, but sometimes it's just 1 or 2 for a little while, so that's good.
So no. Well, okay. And 2 things. I have 2 questions. One, okay. When it's only 1 or 2, do you feel like that's a different dynamic and you have a little more in the amount of attention you can give them because there's not as many?
No, because remember, I don't deal with them on the level that other people deal with them. I'm not a counselor. Okay.